What's going on, everybody? Here we are back with episode 4 of Over the Boards. Better late than never, eh, boys? How are we doing?
Struggling, but I'm ready.
Jesus, you look like you're struggling, bro.
Uh, he's turned the basement into like this dark dungeon now as well. It's about to fall asleep. Just seen him like 2 minutes ago.
Yo, it is an
Great.
absolute vibe. Actually, I thought about that as we started the intro music. I was like, shit, we're going to lose him. Like, we're going to lose this guy, bro. But I love this vibe. Nobody can see all like the unfinished basement that for all they know that it's finished, except the fact I just told everybody that it is unfinished. But yeah, we were just shooting the shit, guys. And we said, we were going to record tonight and release it tomorrow, but why not go live? Hey, the boys wanted to go live. And it's like, I think that was a great idea. It's late, different vibes here, and yeah, I mean we're gonna do it anyways. We might as well do it where we can't make mistakes, right? When we're live, we're not gonna be able to go back and correct them now, boys.
We don't make mistakes here. It's all good.
We don't make. No, I definitely make mistakes pretty often. But Scarata, what's going on, buddy? How was your week? I know we're doing this a little bit later, right? We've been doing it Sundays, but scheduling conflicts this week. St. Patrick's Day kind of fucked us. How's your week been, bud?
That's not been too bad. Busy, but the last couple days have been fairly relaxed and just kind of a low vibe. Went to Texas Roadhouse yesterday as well, so always getting my my buttered rolls. I could eat about 10 of those.
Love that. I've never been there,
You've
never
never-
had it, but I can only assume they're really good. Well, I don't know if we have
Okay.
them here in Canada, my guy. Like, I don't.
Oh, I bet you do.
Texas
You have to.
Roadhouse?
Yeah, I know those Canadian cowboys love their steaks. Come on now.
Let's go.
Jeez.
Unhinged thought says more. Yeah, I mean, we have stuff like that, like free bread. I'm assuming, right? Is it free bread right before your meal?
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah. So
Things
basically,
like that,
so they bring out this basket of fresh rolls, right? But what they give you is cinnamon butter, and it's the greatest thing you've ever put in your mouth. You lather it on this bread. They usually put 2 cups in the basket. You take 1 cup, you put half of it on the bread, you put half of it on the other roll, and you just eat. And they keep bringing it to you.
Just eat. Just fucking get
You
it.
just go.
I love
You
it.
just go.
Love it. RTC, is this something you've had before?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cool. So it's just the
Yeah,
Canadian.
it's
My bad.
yeah, it must be.
Is there one in Buffalo?
Yeah.
Sounds like I got a trip to make, boys.
There you
There you
At some
go.
point, we'll do live review of Texas Roadhouse. Did you go to a soccer game at all this weekend, Scrata?
No home game. St. Louis played LA Galaxy in Los Angeles. Took home a point, one which we probably didn't deserve. But LA did equalize in the 93rd minute, so that was painful. Off of a free kick that shouldn't have happened. They gave a foul up in a stupid area, and they just dinked it right in. Shocker. But we didn't deserve to win the game, so a point's probably fair.
It's crazy. The description of that soccer game sounded about as boring as a soccer game can be. So appreciate that. Hey, I don't want to lose the guy, so we'll introduce him now. RTC, what's going on, buddy? Let's keep you awake. We'll keep you involved today. How's your week been?
Good. Busy with work. Had a St. Patty's Day party. Just let the kids run around. Had a couple beers. Yeah.
Sick. I was off last week. We had March break here, so I was off last week. When we went back to work this week, was an absolute shit show. But yeah, I feel like, man, it's been actually a long time since we've done this. Like, this has been 7, 8, 9 days. Is it 9 days?
Mhm.
I missed you guys.
Yeah.
So much has happened, guys. So much has happened since the last show. We have week 3 in LG that took place. We have week 4 now that just finished tonight. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of emotional people at this moment based on how their week went. 2 guys that just had the longest night ever while I'm waiting to do this show with lagouts and overtimes and all kinds of shit. Yeah, we've done a lot. One of the things that's changed since last week for me, by the way, I had a great week with my family. It was awesome. I bought my kid some golf clubs. He's 4 years old. Brought him to the range. He is terrible, but he's got clubs now, so we're gonna go. Yeah,
That's sick.
So that was good. But one of the new things, new additions to my stream background here is my WJC gold medal trophy championship for the Team Russia. Absolute wagon of a team. Facchetti. Shout out to Facchetti who 3D printed this trophy. I've been talking about it for a while. We've been talking about it for a while. He is working on 3D printing some medals for the squad too, but those are not going nearly as well as this big ass trophy did, which is surprising to me. I know nothing about 3D printing. He's failed multiple times, and I'm sure we're going to see, Polish has already mentioned it. Where's his medals? But I've been talking about this trophy for a while. It's here now, and it's a bowl. So I did say I'm going to crush a pint out of it, so I'm going to do that now. Well, I mean, it's no better way to start the show than to crush a pint out of a WJC gold medal trophy. Hopefully this doesn't leak. There's no holes in it.
I was gonna say,
and
yeah.
It's got like resin and stuff on it as well, boys. Like I don't know if it's safe to drink out of, but if you lose me halfway through, cheers, boys. If you lose me halfway through, call poison control, please.
Poison control.
Well, yeah, I don't know what's on this thing. I would assume that's gonna hurt me.
Did you not clean it?
Clean it. It looks clean. What are you talking about?
Oh god.
But hey, while I go to do this is for the boys, by the way, and Sam Squanch, who we beat in the finals, and he still always puts sad faces when I talk about this. So this one's a little bit for him too. Bro says it's RTC drinking a light beer. Yeah, it looks clean, right? It looks good. Yeah, look at there's like resin runoff there. You can see kind of the lines. But hey, if you guys want to kick it off with something you wanted to talk about in the NHL world, I'm gonna crush this way you start your conversation.
You're talking about the Washington Capitals. This is hilarious to me. The Washington Capitals. I've seen it all over Twitter today. I'm gonna go ahead and tweet and quote 7 million tweets today. The Washington Capitals might be the first team.
Oh, there was something a little extra than beer tasting in there, but
I imagine there was.
Boys. The only thing I'm ever gonna win in LG, right there.
More than me, shit. But no, the Washington Capitals might be the first team to not want to make the playoffs. That are like, how did we get here? And I think it goes back to just the bottom half of the Eastern Conference being literally terrible. Literally awful. I mean, the Devils don't have goaltending. The Islanders are the Islanders. The Penguins are, they've already traded everybody. They're out. The Blue Jackets are the Blue Jackets. They weren't competing. The Senators, who I think are on some people's radars, bottom of the Atlantic. The Habs, still in rebuilding mode. I know RTC, your Sabres had a better outlook on this season, I think, and Tage Thompson gets injured and all kind of the wheels fall off the bus. The Detroit Red Wings, 2-8 in their last 10. Patty Kane's not even going to be in the playoffs at this rate. You got the Tampa Bay Lightning, you're doing well. They've won 3 in a row, and the Leafs are in there. So, there's a what is it? Let me do a quick math. 7-point gap between the Leafs and the Lightning.
Yeah, it's tough to make up.
And then there's the Washington Capitals that are just sat there minding their own business.
Okay, so
somehow in the playoff picture.
You know what's fucked is obviously we said today we're gonna shoot the shit. We're just gonna go off. Buddy, I thought the Washington Capitals were gone. Bro, I had no clue that they were this close to getting a wild card.
Everybody did.
I didn't realize this though until you just mentioned it. I pulled it up on this screen. This team has been trash.
They hold a wild card spot right now. Do I have that right? Yeah.
No. Detroit's got it. 76 points.
Oh, okay. So Detroit just played today then, but Washington 2 games in hand.
2 games in hand. Yeah, and Detroit's trash right now. RTC, your Buffalo Sabres beat the shit out of them last week. I don't know what happened this week when they played, but you guys beat the wheel. You guys look like a new team with Byram.
Well, it's because we're the best. So
okay,
write that down.
We'll go back to episode 1 and talk about we're the best. And how
Saturday's game, just to give you an idea, the Red Wings 4, Sabres 1. So
still plus. Sabres are still plus in the last 2 games. They beat the shit out of them the last time they played.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Eastern Conference is crazy. right? Like
Yeah.
even I'll be honest, like RTC, your Sabres, maybe.
I mean, that would be cool. It's been a long time for Buffalo. A long time.
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, even if we do, it's not like we're going to be competitive anyway. So I'd almost rather see another team,
Yeah.
go and put up a
Get the-
potential upset the first round or something.
Yeah. Fair
Kind of the
enough.
same situation as Washington, right? RTC, because it's like you don't want to make the playoffs because then you don't get the lottery pick, and then it's like, all right, well,
Well,
we're
I mean,
here.
for us, like the lottery pick wouldn't do shit anyway. Like we don't know how to manage anybody. Like we've
Wow.
had so many people leave Buffalo and immediately become champions after that.
I think
And
Middlestad scored tonight.
wouldn't surprise me.
I think he did.
It's
I
whatever.
had goal where it's going off for the Blues game today, and I think he tied it at 2. So yeah,
There you go. Yeah, that's a huge call out. I love that storyline to start this show off because, buddy, if somebody asked me about the Washington Capitals, I'd be like, yeah, they're terrible. Like they're the worst. Like they're nothing anymore. They're gone. And then to think that they're only 1 point out of a wild card spot is absolutely insane.
yeah.
But yeah, they've got some work still. But you're right, 2 games in hand on Detroit. Maybe they get there, man. Like this Eastern Conference is a gong show after after the couple teams there, right? And Washington falls into are they Atlantic or Metropolitan Division?
They are standby. Metro.
Metro.
Yeah,
Okay, so they're actually
and
only
then
3 points out of not being in a wild card and being in the 3rd spot, right? Like,
yeah,
that's
it's
okay.
nuts.
All right, so that's interesting. That's really cool,
Yeah.
man. That's really neat. Speaking of we're talking about a team that's trash and finding their way in. What about this? So I did a ranking at the beginning of the season just based on how I thought these teams were going to do this year. I need to go back and figure out what those rankings were. Maybe I can do that and prepare for the next show. But I'll tell you what, Nashville Predators were not a team that was on my list. And that team might be one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. And I don't know how they're doing it. I still look at the roster and be like, what the hell is happening with this team? They are on fire. They're 8-0-2 in their last 10. Where did they come from? What's going on?
Nashville just watching them in the Central Division, they strike me as a team that they're not young at all. They've got a lot of old dudes on that team, but it's a lot of old dudes that have been there, done it, have gotten close. A lot of that Nashville team this year is a lot of the guys that have been there for the last 3, 4, 5 years. And they've just slowly added pieces. And, I think it was only a matter of time. I don't think anybody expected them to get this hot. I think a lot of people expected them to start kind of being around maybe where like St. Louis and Minnesota are, where they're right on the border of are we in the playoffs, are we not? But I think they've benefited from a lot of other teams kind of kicking the can as well. We mentioned on the last show that Calgary, just the season hasn't panned out for them. Seattle, I think a lot of people are thinking, hey, what's going on up north? And that's fallen to shit. You know, I think Minnesota was one of those teams we looked at as well as maybe outside contenders. Kaprizov having another good season. It hasn't really panned out. They're not really getting a lot of defense. Really, it's been the defense for Minnesota that's let them down. And I think Nashville is just taking advantage of how things are going. And they play in what is probably one of the hardest divisions in hockey right now. I mean, let's be completely honest. The Central Division's an absolute nightmare to try to get through. You've got Winnipeg, Colorado, Dallas. You have to play multiple times in a season.
Yep. No, you're right.
Not easy.
No, you're right. I was like, where are these guys coming? How are they doing so well?
Yeah.
But like even still, like I looked at their roster and I'm like, where? Like Philip Forsberg having another outstanding season, Yossi having another outstanding season, right? And then the other guys are just like they're contributing, right? Like they're contributors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, O'Reilly's having a great season again. I thought that guy was about to die off, but no, he's still a stud.
Dude, some of his conditioning videos are fucking crazy. the balance training that guy does.
Oh yeah, he did a lot of like promo videos for like when he was here in St. Louis for just like different, hey Ryan, how do you prepare for a game or stuff like that. And you look at the stuff he does, it's like no human can should be able to physically do this, and he's doing it with ease. It's like, how are you operating at such a level? And he's what, 33, 34 now?
I don't know, but they got the 2018 All-Star roster on that team right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, the Nashville Predators are on a tear. But I think it was Mez in the chat earlier. It was saying the Western Conference in general. Winnipeg, Colorado, Dallas, Vancouver, all within 2 points. Winnipeg sits on 93. The Avalanche, courtesy of their win tonight, 93. The Canucks, 92. I mean, we've got a 1 seed wide open. The Dallas Stars on 91 as well.
Yeah, it's tight, bro. It's tight.
There's going to be a divisional series between one of these teams. And that's going to be must-see hockey. Every game. All 7 games. Because there's no way that it's ending early, any of those series.
No.
So...
Well, you never know. You actually never know. Playoffs are...
No, you don't. But, like...
Playoffs are
especially the Colorado-Dallas...
I will always go
starting to
back
heat up
to
a little
like
bit.
the regular season. Always go back to when the Bolts played Columbus, and the Bolts were like a top seed. They played them and got swept.
Yeah,
and I remember my buddy showed up to. We had a diaper party. I don't know if you guys have been part of a diaper party before or know what they are, but it's a reason for the boys to get together, crush some beers when somebody's having a baby. Girls have the baby shower that they all do, diaper party. The boys show up, they bring a pack of diapers so that the guy has diapers for his kid, and you just get hammered. And I had a couple of the boys there, Egan being one of them, they went and bought Columbus Blue Jackets jerseys and put 4-0 on the back at this party for me. And yeah, so I'm always reminded by that one. But that's why I'm saying, like, playoffs is a different beast. And then that's like one of those random, like, you have to lose to learn how to win moment, right? Like, that was an eye opener for those guys, big time. But yeah, NHL, it's pretty crazy, man. Like, it's really tight, right? It's really tight. It's good competitive. Now we have our bottom teams, no different than what we have in our LG, right? Like, very similar from a standings perspective. It's tight, and then there's some teams that just probably shouldn't be there, like the San Jose Sharks. But yeah, RTC, I know that you kind of alluded to earlier when we were talking about like the Eastern Conference being tight. Was there anything else NHL wise that you wanted to talk about or bring up?
No, not really. I mean, it's cool to kind of be like in sync right now, obviously, these guys only have what, 6 games left, 7 games left in the season. No.
12?
Sabres have played 69.
12,
Yeah,
13.
they got 13, 12, 13. So they got a couple weeks left, and like, as you just said, like the standings and everything, they're starting to separate, and it's funny how LG is like complementing that as well. Like, we're, like you said, what, 4 weeks into the season now, just finished week 4. We're starting to see like that gap, the teams kind of really start to break off, and like the bottom tier teams be down there and the top tier, and like you almost got to wonder, as far as transition into LG, like when does panic set in? Like, is this the week?
4 weeks of a 9-week season. You don't got a ton of time left, right? You're almost over halfway. What's that halfway point, Scrata? Would you say Monday?
After game 2 on Monday, I believe.
2. And you're halfway through.
Like, yeah.
Gary?
Sorry, it might be after game 1, because Sunday's a 4-game day. So yeah.
No, one of those again.
Yeah.
Last season I got to play in the 4-gamer. Yeah, he bumped my stats, but I think I dropped a couple games, so it didn't actually help me. It made me worse, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think I went like 3-0-1 or something. Something crazy. Weird. I don't know. Last season was just a blur.
Yeah. But you're right. Like that's a good question though, right? Like when does panic set in the standings? Because there's some teams that truly I believe can be competitive in these leagues that are outside of playoffs, but the time is running out to turn it up. Right? We talk about the Lions a bunch of the times, right? Like last season they did the same thing. But buddy, time is running out for that team. The Newfoundland Growlers in the ECHL, another team. Hey, time's running out. They turned it up last week. I think they had a pretty good week, but I think they might have fell short a little bit again this week. But even still, like 5-4 isn't good enough if you want to get into playoffs now. You got to have some significant weeks if you want to try to, turn your season around. So like, what is that? What is that panic point, or what is that time where you're like, I mean, you guys. Are you guys panicking? I mean, like Scratty, you're a manager in the AHL right now. Your team obviously not doing what you expected to do. Where's your headspace?
Yeah.
Yo, RTC, this is not a fucking dig at him. This is a good example, right? You both.
He'll get to you later. Funny. Don't you worry. No, I think the frustrating thing for us is like we came into the season and came out of bidding. We're like, on paper, this team should do well, right? Like you look at how things went in the past for all these players, and for whatever reason, one way or another, it's like pulling teeth to get goals right now. And I don't know if that's because the standard of defense has just increased that much. Like I'm looking at the standings right now. Right, so the Springfield Thunderbirds have conceded 95 goals. Not bad through 36 games. That's like middle of the road. We've only scored 74. And we've probably had our best night offensively tonight.
Buddy, is 74 last in the AHL for goals?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. It's not close either. Actually, it is close now. Looks like Ontario had a rough night. They're down to 79 goals for. But like, just playing so many close games, and I think to address the question, for us, there's not a lot of panic because we know we have the players, right? We know we have them. It's just getting the best out of every single guy on the roster. Every single guy on the roster, we have to get the best out of them. And I told one of our guys today, I'm like, from here on out, every game has to be a game 7 because we dug ourselves a hole. Now we got to dig ourselves out of it.
Right now, you have to make up 7 points. That's all. 7 points. Right now, you're sitting in 14th. To get to 8th, the separation is 7 points. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to bank on the teams ahead of you losing games, and that like at the same time you're winning. So any games you have against those teams in front of you, and not just you, right? Like all these teams that, hey, maybe they still have that confidence, maybe they're ready to turn their season around. Every game that they have against those teams are the most important games. If you're playing a number 1 seed, who gives a shit? Obviously you want to win, but your biggest games are against those teams that are just in front of you that you need to get past.
And I'm pretty sure, to your point, we play all of the teams directly ahead of us next week. Next week is a huge, huge week for us and a huge indicator of where we are. Because if we come out of that week positive, if we go 6-2-1 that week, all right, we're in it. We're in it. Or sorry, I guess it would be 7-2-1 because we play 4 games on Sunday.
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got an opportunity to get some extra points. There you go.
Yeah, you get extra points, and if it doesn't go well, then there's gonna be some awkward decisions having to be made in reality, because the trade deadline is quickly approaching, right after week 6.
What week are we in right now? We just finished
4.
4, right?
We just ended week 4, so we start 5, we play 5, we play through week 6. And then the trade deadline is that following Sunday. So the trade deadline is the Sunday after Easter Sunday.
Is it on the Sunday?
Well, it's different.
It was like NHL was one day, and then it was like ECHL was like day after day, and then like waivers were right after too. They kept it really tight.
Yeah, I think it's like a 4-hour difference between each of the leagues. I'd have to go look at the rule book and figure it out. But yeah, it's all staggered. So I think the NHL and the AHL end on Saturday. I don't know. It's going to be one of those weeks where you just get your business done early and don't have to worry about it.
Season
So
47 trade deadline timeline. LGHL is the Thursday, April 4th. AHL, April 5th.
okay, so Friday.
Midnight. And then ECHL, April 6th, midnight. CHL, April 7th, midnight. And the NCAA has one as well on the 7th at midnight wait, no, not midnight. 17. What number 17? It was 6 o'clock actually.
5 o'clock.
I think. Yeah, so 6 o'clock. So it's 17:59. So 6 o'clock deadline for the CHL and the ECHL, which makes sense because we're gonna have games on the Sunday. So they roll right like this. Fuck man, last season it got tight. I didn't like it because it was like NHL trade deadline waivers, and as the waivers were coming through, you were making trades because the waiver deadline and the trade deadline are on the same day. So like the LJHL waiver deadline is the same day as the AHL trade deadline. So you don't know exactly what's going to happen, and you're making moves, and I don't know. I think it's way too condensed. I do like the staggerness though, because then you can make some decisions based on what your higher levels are doing too, right?
Yeah.
It'd be the worst thing ever if you went and made a bunch of trades and then all of a sudden your NHL team calls guys up or sends you guys down and you have to like let go of good players or something like that, right? Like so anyway, so it's staggered again this season. That's great. But yeah, back to RTC, your point, buddy, like yeah, I mean, what's going on in Quad City?
Well, I
Are
mean,
we panicking in Quad City?
I don't know. I'm just a player. You know what I mean? Like,
You still have an opinion. You're still a person.
well, of course I do. You know, like, dude, we're not blind. Like, we're the last place team in the fucking league. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Greg and them ran a team that, you know, went pretty, you know, they had a great season last season. Obviously disappointing on everybody's standards, you know, where they're at and everything, you know, even themselves. It is what it is. We're in fucking last place, dude. We fucking suck. But, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
Still gonna have a good time, not be toxic. I mean, talk, you know, friendly shit and everything, but it's all in good fun.
Greg's
That's all,
good dude
you know.
too.
Well,
I can't
yeah,
believe you guys
he
are where
is.
you are, by the way. Like
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys are great guys, you know, but and a lot of them are, you know, shocked. You know, it just whatever. But if we're not doing this to have fun, you know, not saying that being in last place is acceptable, but also doesn't give you an excuse to treat somebody like shit. So,
Yeah. I think a lot of what this is coming down to is you hear the rumors of how watered down a lot of the leagues were last season. But I think over the course of LG, at least for as long as I've been a part of it, this season in the game cycle, the middle season, spring season, winter season, whatever you want to call it, is always the hardest.
mm-hmm.
Because everybody's tried out the game. They know what they're good at. Okay, hey, I'm playing here this season. This is my main position. Everybody's in their main positions. I don't know anybody who's playing outside of their main positions this season.
Egan.
And
he's in the
I'm actually a goalie.
Is he? Jesus Christ. What is he playing?
Who, Egan?
Yeah.
He signed up as a center, got bid on for $6 million in the CHL because nobody was going to take him in the ECHL at center.
Oh my god,
and then
man.
won a bunch of losses and won, I think. So he just got traded and sent down. So now I'm sure he'll sign up as a D next season.
That sucks.
So, but yeah, no, I'm with you, right? Like, the first season's about figuring stuff out. Second season's like you kind of know what you're good at, and then summer season just roll the dice. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely
How are you feeling over there?
Season.
How am I feeling?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Here comes the optimism.
I'm feeling okay. I'm just okay. I'm happy with how the team's been doing. Last week we had a losing week. Not good. After having 3 really good weeks. This week I think we just went 5-3-1, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with. You play some good teams. Like, you're gonna lose some games. I don't expect to win everything, but we're in a good spot. I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. We have some really good teams in our league, but luckily, we have a pretty good lead in our division right now. So unless we completely tank, we should be okay. But got to keep pushing.
It,
Boys.
like I find it so funny because regardless of like where you are in the standings, that pressure, of like time's kind of starting to run out where you're going to be locked in with the squad till the end type deal, that hits everybody so different. Like a top team, like you guys are playing, phenomenal. I mean, obviously, okay, you had a bad week, fine, all right, but the competition's only going to get better every single week. Every team that you used to beat the shit out of, 6-0, whatever the case is, those games are gonna, be like 3-2
Yeah,
all of
way
a
better.
sudden. You know what I mean? But as the shitty teams, you're freaking out because you're just like, oh my god, I don't want to get pumped every fucking night. I'm about to take forfeits. Like, it's so funny to see the different pressure avenues. I'm excited to see how it progresses. It's been awesome. We've had a really good season. I think across all the leagues. Really, we're starting to see all that gap across all leagues. But with that, there's also some things that got to be cleaned up. You know, um, like we're what 47 seasons into this,
Yep.
and like we still have a little bit of confusion on just like simple rules, which is crazy to me, especially with owners, being as, selective as they are, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, just before we go forward, Defgraph, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, my guy. He's done it every show so far. Absolute stud. I didn't want to interrupt anybody, but the chat's giving him some love. I got to make sure I give him some love too. So thank you, Def, for the support as always, my guy. Appreciate it. But you're right. And one thing I wanted before we move on is that experience that I had last season. We had a very, very good team leading into playoffs, but our guys stopped playing. Right? That Christmas break killed us. We stopped
Mm-hmm.
playing games together, and there was other teams that play every night together, man. Every single night they play together. Those are the teams that are going to do very well. Because chemistry in this game, to me, is so important. There is no more one-man shows in this game. Right? LT is still there, but it's not like it used to be. One guy could control a line before. You don't have somebody that carries lines anymore. So chemistry is so important. We lost that leading into playoffs, and we did not have a good first round. Obviously, we got the boot early. We had a good team. We should not have gotten the boot early, but we did because the team that beat us played a lot more than we did. Right? And Def Grab comes in with another 5. What an absolute hero this guy is. Thank you very much. We're going to eventually be able to fund RTC's basement refinish so we have a background because his green screen doesn't work.
Love that.
Next week, you're just gonna see like a little area rug in the background, and that'll be courtesy of DefGrav's gifted subs.
Yeah. After Twitch takes everything else away from us first before it
Yeah,
does the nickels and
yeah.
dimes. But yeah, no, I think that's a good point, right? Like it's almost like when you think about it too, right? You talk about your last place like team, right? It's kind of hard to find that motivation to like. I know it sucks to lose and you don't want to continue losing, but it kind of sucks. You kind of hate the game a little bit. Probably lose a little bit of that motivation to and that drive to want to get on and play with these guys every night too. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying in general, right? Then the top teams are like, "Fuck, I'm good, bro. We're good. We're good." The middle teams are the ones that are like, "Hey, we can't lose because we don't want to drop, but we also want to try to get higher." Those are the teams that are grinding. Those are the teams you want to watch out for, I think, when it
Yeah.
thinks about like team chemistry and leading into playoffs and getting hot at the right time, like the Trois Rivières Lions last year, upsetting who did they play round 1? Second seed, I believe they played
Atlanta.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
right?
Don't know how I remember that, but I do.
But yeah. But yeah, no, I think like we talked about the standings, it is very, very tight right now. The NHL is very tight. The Eastern Conference is insane in the NHL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We've got what's the separation here? So 8th place has 43 points. The Maple Leafs, they have 43 points. The Lightning in 12th have 40 points. The Bruins in 13th have 38 points. Like, it's 5 points away. Like, this is going to be crazy. And even through the middle of the standings there, outside, even including the top team, the Flyers right now, everybody is so tight in that Eastern Conference, man. It's insane.
So can I just ask a total off-topic question here for a second?
Of course you can.
Right.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
All right. Do you think that like when these guys play for like the Isles gaming team, or Caps Gaming or CBJ Gaming, like do you think or Sano, whatever, all of them, do you think playing on teams with names like that puts added pressure on players? Like, do you think that they have to play like a certain way to uphold, like the name, if you will?
Clearly not, because there's
Right.
only 2 of them sitting playoff spots.
Well, I mean,
And last season, 2 of the worst
not
teams
saying that they're going to perform at that level, right? But they're like, oh shit, I'm on a team that spots by Columbus Blue Jackets or whatever, whatever these guys think.
Maybe it's not a bad idea to touch on that real quick, because I didn't understand. I understood from a marketing perspective why they changed the names. I will always refer to CBJ Gaming as the Columbus Blue Jackets. I have no other reason to refer to them as that. CBJ Gaming is the esports team, not the team in the league that's completely free to sign up for and gives you a 480 by 480 PNG trophy when you win it. There's no money to be won here. You're playing it to win. So I don't. Again, from a marketing perspective, I get it, but it seems as though the Devils Gaming, Sharks, Ducks, CBJ, like they're not. A lot of those guys aren't playing for the esports teams. I mean,
in the most
are
part,
any
you're
of
right.
them?
No, you're right.
I mean,
No, you're right.
Maybe
I don't
maybe
disagree.
Deke is. I don't know.
No.
But he would probably be the only guy off the top of my head. But it doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
Again,
so I didn't necessarily completely understand it either. I know me and McDonald talked about it on a show where I had him on between 2 sticks when that stuff took place. But I think for me, it's just like it's LG just supporting those NHL clubs that are supporting esports, right? Like, why not, right? Why not do it? And is there extra pressure? Probably not, man. Maybe. Like, I don't know. Is somebody looking at the LGHL free league and being like, "Whoa, we need to get better owners on that team"? Probably not, guy. I think it's just more of a like, "Hey, if you're supporting our esports league and in supporting teams in those leagues, hey, why not throw your logo? Why not throw your name in our actual league, right?" And yeah, I said the same thing I think last season, being like, why, like, I feel like there would be a little bit of extra pressure, but I don't think there is, right? Like, because we saw a couple real bad teams last season. Devils Gaming was bad last season.
Mm-hmm.
The Sharks gaming
Columbus
team wasn't great last season. Columbus was terrible last season, right? Like,
they are again this season.
Yeah. I mean, but you can't be the owner of the CBJ Gaming team on the esports side and think, oh, well, I need to figure something out for LG NHL. They're not doing that. They're not.
Got you.
They're solely focused on their esports team, which is fine. That's what they should be focused on. But I would like to see all the teams just go back to their regular names. It makes it so much easier, makes it so much cleaner, and I get the support that the league is trying to have, but from a league, and we've had McDonald on here before, the first episode, he's like, we want to make this league as realistic as possible.
I think part of their ideas, and I think, we talked about it. I've talked about it in a previous interview with McDonald, and Wizza actually mentions it a little bit here in the chat too. The idea of getting esports teams involved was to get esports players involved, and almost like they wanted to create another tier that was esports league, right? Not just a tournament, like an esports, like a super league kind of idea, where it wasn't NHL teams. It was going to be your esports team in the league, in their own division, in their own conference, in their own whatever, right? But that's not how it's worked so far, but I think they're moving in the right direction. I think that's the idea, right? Is to somehow have the best players playing in your league. Like that's what I would want. Now I think by doing this, they thought maybe they were going to take some of those heads, like Wizza mentions in the chat here, some of those heads and head that LGHL team, but it didn't work out. It looks like maybe Rosart might have been last season, was on the actual esports team and ran the Sharks gaming team, but they didn't have a great team, right? And again, your team can only, I say this multiple times when we make crazy decisions on who can manage in what league, your team will only ever be as good as the players that are available, right? Like one player is not going to win you a championship. I'm sorry, right? Like, and we say, hey, this manager's too good for this league or just too good. What are they going to do? They can only bid on the players that are available, right? They're not going to run the table by themselves. Right. So like that's it. Right. So, so when you put like a head in front of a team, they still need to bid on the players that are available. And they're probably like, well, none of my guys are going to sign up. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't speak for them. Maybe that'd be a good opportunity to get somebody on this show, guys. Like, let's make note of that. Maybe we get some esports guy on this show and we talk through it, like being like, hey, what are your thoughts? Why are you not getting involved? What is it that you're looking for? Right? Like that might be a good conversation.
Yeah. And I think to kind of your point with the Super League, I don't think a lot of the esports guys would do that. Because remember, if you're going to make it a tier above the NHL, you got to go through bidding. And are you going to put cash prizes on a league that's going through bidding? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work out. I don't
think that would go well. I think that's just you're asking a lot there, and you're asking for guys to just get lucky. And I think a lot of the esports, and I respect them for this. I think a lot of the esports guys want control of their team to put the best six out there each and every single night to compete for whatever the cash prize is. And I think that's the perfect way to do it. I think the structure that that the current esports format has is fine.
Yeah.
I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't play in esports. I don't really get into that. But like from what I've heard, like I haven't heard any complaints, especially since the Contender Series has come in. And yeah, I think it's perfectly fine as it is. So
like the other
tinkering
thing too
around
is,
with it.
as these tournaments end, there's another one starting. There really is no desire, I think, for these top esports players like to play more because they're roll into the next tournament. Like it's just one after another now, right? Like so, the Super League thing probably is not even near future. I don't think, unless these tournaments start to slow down and they feel the need that they can compete. They want to compete in a different space, and I'm not gonna lie, money's gonna have to be involved more than likely. These guys play for money all the time. Why wouldn't why would they want to play in a free league, right? So I don't know the exact route. Maybe another day when we get McDonald on the show again, we can ask him those questions. But yeah, no, I don't think anyone feels that pressure. Is I guess kind of go back to the question. I personally don't think so. I feel like you should want to do better with those clubs, but there really is no incentive to either, right? So
yeah, right.
But but yeah, so yeah, NHL. I mean, we're through what week 4 now. Week 4, we had our first in the league in week 3. We had our first 9-0 team. Speaking of esports named teams, the Isles GT team. Week 3 was our first 9-0. Not our first perfect record, as we've talked about the Alaska Aces going 0-9, doing the opposite there in week 3 or 2. But yeah, so first 9-0 team, Isles GT. They're a force. They're looking good. They're tied right now for third or second place, I guess. So just like wanted to make sure we gave them a shout out for that perfect week. I don't know how they did this week. I haven't really looked yet, but I think they had a decent week. I took them in a blow game,
right now,
and they didn't blow the team out. Not 9-0 this week, that's for sure.
Looks like we've got 4 wins. We've got 3 losses and 1 overtime loss. So 4-3-1 on the week.
By the way, the yellow for overtime losses that they've added as a highlight in people's schedule is the best thing in the world.
Oh, nice.
Easiest win.
It's fantastic.
Easiest win. But yeah, NHL is competitive. Any other teams? RTC, is there anyone? NHL wise?
Yeah, I mean the Sabres. I mean they're off to a hot start. Um, dropped a couple this week, but I mean, where are we? Yeah, I mean they're 6 points out of first for the East, and it's crazy. You know, like we were just saying, a guy can't carry a team anymore. Things like that. Kind of circling back to it, it's how much can one line carry? You know what I mean? Um, like the Sabres, they got Bandit, Treestone, and Lizzo. Um, three of their forwards are in the top 10 for points in the NHL. It's impressive. When you put lines together like that and they perform at that level, it's impressive. So definitely don't want to come across that line, but they have lost, so it's possible.
You definitely have a third line on that team, though. They definitely have a third line on that Buffalo team for sure. So something they probably want to look in changing or fixing or improving. But yeah.
Right.
No, I like this Sabres team. They're looking pretty good. And when you look at their division too, they're only 3 points out of taking that one spot, which would put them in number 2, right? So they're there. They're there. They're competing. They're looking good. I love that. Like, this is a good team, definitely to call out for sure. Scarata, is there any NHL notes that you had from the last couple weeks here?
The Colorado Avalanche are the team that stand out to me. And I know, listen, I'm calling out, a team that's been in the playoffs and winning a lot over the last season and continuing to this season. They started the season 3-5-1. And they've done nothing but win ever since that. They sat bottom of the division after week 1 and have put up 7 wins each of the last 3 weeks. So they've said, all right, well, week 1 didn't go to plan. So let's step on the gas pedal a little bit, and they're putting everybody to the sword up in the NHL. The other team that I had my eye on as well, and actually the team that, if you missed it last night, Monday Night Hockey, the VOD's up, go look at that. The Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know a lot of these dudes up in the NHL. I know some of them. Some of them are nice guys. But I genuinely don't know a lot of these dudes. And watching the Philadelphia Flyers play was just fantastic. They went down by 2. They gave up 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of the first period. And they said, you know what? We're just going to shut them out the rest of the way. 5 goals in the first period, and then they scored 3 times in the twice in the second, once in the third to cap everything off. It was a close game the whole entire time, but a lot of times going down by 2 that early, you're like, oh boy, is this going to be one of those games? But absolutely not. I mean, this Flyers team is for real. They're here to play, and, they dropped their final game of the night, but they sit top of the East, and rightfully so after what I saw last night. That was a very complete performance from them.
Yeah, good managers on that team, right? Matt 4-for-4 and Knife Vet managed together. I believe they did manage. They managed together there for the Bakersfield Condors season 43 when they won the Calder Cup. So they've got some experience together. They got some good players on that squad. I love their team. Yeah, so like definitely there. And then Colorado, buddy, like, yeah, first week was whatever. That's the real Stanley Cup hangover, my guy. We saw it in our own league. That's sick.
Yeah.
Now they're back on top and they're buzzing again. Could we see a repeat? Could we see a back-to-back Stanley Cup champion? I think they look good enough.
Mm-hmm.
They do. And talking about defense wins championships, best defense in the league. And they're men of culture as well, Kahuna. They are men of culture, allowing 69 goals. Nice.
It'll change next week,
Nice.
guy. Oh, man.
Leave it. Just leave it. Shut everybody out next week. Leave it.
Down. Shut it. Nice, says Mez. I love it. I love it. AHL, guys. Moving on. AHL. your league, Scratus. I'll let you kick it off. What do you got? What's going on last couple weeks in
Yeah.
the AHL? What's the news in the AHL?
A lot of teams are doing a lot of different things, and that's a very general statement. But
A lot
there's
of teams doing a lot of things. Okay,
yeah,
good.
No
think-
way.
I think we've finally started to see, kind of in RTC alluded to this earlier, the separation. Where there's teams where even though they were up in the standings, there was definitely an alarm bell going off and they were making a lot of moves. And some of those moves panned out, some of those moves don't. They're all kind of case by case basis, right? A team for me who I can't believe that they're in the position that they're in, the Rochester Americans. They've recovered a little bit. But dear God, the first 2-3 weeks for them, they went 1-8 in week 2. 1-8. And I looked at this team. My buddy Suavicado is sit on that team, and I'm like, dude, you just got, put onto a wagon in this team. I looked at them on paper after bidding. I'm like, oh Jesus, that could be a team that causes problems, and they've done anything but cause problems for the rest of the league. They've caused problems for themselves, and they've righted the ship a little bit. I know they've made a couple trades. Moving some forwards around, moving some defensemen around. But yeah, they're a team where I'm looking at them at 6th in the division. I'm like, how on earth are they there? They've got the goal scoring. It's the defense that's let them down. 4-7-4 in 1-goal games isn't helping all that much either. The Milwaukee Admirals. The Milwaukee Admirals were on your show last night. They were on Monday Night Hockey last night as well, putting up, I believe they got it to 12 in a row, was it?
11.
11 in a row.
And then dropped it to the worst team in the league.
Yeah, they lost 2-1 to the Cleveland Monsters. And the game that we had on Monday Night Hockey was the Admirals and the Phantoms. How on earth do you go from that performance that we saw in that game, utter domination? I haven't seen a Phantoms team in the last season and a half get dominated the way that this Phantoms team, this line, got dominated last night. I mean, it wasn't even close. The Admirals had more goals than the Phantoms had shots. Let that sink in for a second. They had 3 shots through the first 2 periods.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. To think that. No, I know I watched a little bit of that game on your stream too, and I was like, holy moly.
And I'm sat there calling the game. It's over by halfway.
Yeah, it's tough. Which should have been a good game. Should have been lined up.
I
looked
at that game. I'm like, and I led into it as well after my computer decided to shit out on me, bringing it back up. I'm like, all right, well, hey, the Phantoms are rolling right now. They've restructured a few things. They're on the come up. The Admirals have this massive winning streak they're sat on. Can they roll that? Roll it. They steamrolled the Phantoms. And then what happened against Cleveland? What happened here?
Sometimes you might just take a team a little bit too lightly too, right? Like you got to remember some teams will do that. Now, Cleveland, I want to say maybe had their better line going last night.
Yeah. TJ and Jank are extremely good D pairing. And I think it's unfortunate they find themselves on the last place team in the league, but that's a D pairing that's going to be hard to beat every time. So they only got 1 past them, and it looks like they didn't dominate this game. Shots were 18-10, time on attack 9:45 to 7:12. So I mean, it was back and forth. It wasn't, like it was, Cleveland shithoused their way to a win here. I mean, they were in the game. So, but the Admirals have surged up the playoff standings right now. I think they were sat in 5th, I think, before their winning streak, and now they're up to 2nd, 4 points behind the Texas Stars, a point ahead of the Colorado Eagles. I know,
good dude, good manager. Love to see that.
Oh yeah, Yeah, yeah,
Big time, big
super
time.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those boys are humming.
Yeah. RTC AHL stuff. Anything you got?
Two things. One, I would like to be the first to say that we might have been wrong on Rockford. Shout out to Goon and them guys. They're doing good. Um, a lot better than I initially thought that they would be doing, for sure. So there's that. Now, going back to an earlier thing that we talked about, getting closer and closer to the deadline, locking in final rosters. Real quick, both of you, and don't ask me because I don't have a team. Both of you, one team who is going to trade themselves out of the playoffs. It happens every fucking season.
Ooh.
Who's going to do it?
In the AHL?
Yes.
I love that question, man. I love that. I kind
That's
of
an
wish that was a.
incredible question.
I know.
Fuck.
I said let's roll and let's just kind of go with the flow when we do these shows. But that's a preparation question, my guy.
We're doing it live, boys.
Listen, one thing I am gonna say, as maybe I can buy some time here for Scarata about that team there, the Rockford Ice Hogs. They're doing something that I found really interesting. Okay, DPS, right? DPS are not claimable. Your draft picks are not claimable. So they've allowed Mr. Sauce, who's been started on their team, to go to the ECHL. So he's playing now in the ECHL and then ECUing because they don't need to have a
He's
full
so
roster
good.
for Rockford. So the guy's going to light it up in the ECHL, and he's having a great season in Rockford too, which is kind of a cool thing to see, right? Like an AHL team letting that guy do his thing down in the ECHL, knowing that they can use him as still, right? So now the guy's playing 6 games a week, but some of us are playing all the time anyways. It's just an interesting thing that they're doing. I don't know if I've seen that yet, but I love that. I think that's awesome. Like if you have a guy like that, nobody can take him if you're moving him up and down. Why not? I guess, right?
All right. That's awesome. And I mean that's great management, across multiple tiers right there too. I hope that, one of the things that we do with this show is bring a lot more exposure to the organizational tiers, because I think that having the 3-tier system is cool, But let's not forget the question that was asked. Who is going to trade themselves out of the playoffs?
Okay. This is interesting. All right. My thought of the team that is going to trade themselves out of the playoffs, I've got 2 teams. But one, I'm going to go with one. I'm going to go with one. I got 2 teams, and again, I have no clue. But one team that I think is about to panic and start to make some moves is the Hartford Wolfpack. The Hartford Wolfpack had an absolute banging start to this season. They lit it up at the beginning, and they have fallen down to 7th spot. So as a manager, you're going to start to question your team, right? Maybe you've had some tough matchups, though. Like maybe there isn't anything to change. Maybe there is. But I can see a team that did so well in the first couple weeks that have dropped in the last 2 weeks, making some moves, and I think it might hurt them. I think it might hurt them if they make too many. They make the wrong moves, and I think they'll trade themselves out of a playoff spot. Springfield Thunderbirds, you're on the clock.
Yeah.
You've already traded yourself out of a playoff spot, but go ahead.
Thank you. That was
Sorry, that was bid. You bid yourself out of a playoff spot. My bad.
yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Are we going with teams that currently sit in playoff spots, or are we
100%.
including
Yeah,
bubble
no,
teams?
it has to,
No.
You can't trade yourself out of the playoffs if you're not in a playoff spot.
You can trade yourself out of a race, that's for sure.
Out of a race, but that was not the question. It was out of a playoff
Okay.
spot.
All
You
right.
guys trying to bend the rules here, RT.
I'm asking the rules.
We ask direct questions on this show, and we're looking for direct answers.
Fucking the most detailed show you're ever gonna watch is this one right here.
God damn, that's a tough question. Um, I'm going to answer the question, and I'm not going to answer any further questions. I'm going to state this team, refusing to ask questions, get up and leave. The team that trades themselves out of the playoffs, in my opinion, the Tucson Roadrunners.
The Tucson Roadrunners.
Hot take.
I don't know why, but there's a weird feeling that I have with that team. And I don't
play
know.
them on Sunday. So that's
We do
great.
play them on Sunday.
That's a
yeah.
sound bite waiting to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some whiteboard material taking place right now. My concern, right, is you look at how things are going. And by the way, they're 16-3-3 in 1-goal games. So they're winning a lot of these close games, but when you're a playoff team, you need to be in a lot better situations because you turn some of those 1-goal games around. So you turn half of them around. Hey, bounce goes the other way. They're in rough shape. The goal differential +5.
So,
+5. They're the second worst defense in the division. Now, there's a lot of good teams in the division. I mean, Texas, Milwaukee, Colorado, Manitoba are really good as well. I think they're primed for a run. Yeah, I just don't know what it is about Tucson. It doesn't give me warm fuzzies about that team.
I like that answer, and this is why I'm going to say I like it. This is why. Because they are, like what you just said, is a good recipe for a team that knows how to get some wins, buddy. Those 1-goal games, I know you said they could go the other way. They're not going the other way.
No.
So do they feel like they need to make a trade? And if they do change that up, is that going to fuck things up? Is that the bounce that you're talking about, right? You know, we're talking about bounces in the game, but if they make a change, is that going to be a big domino effect on this team? So I do like that pick, actually. And RTC, since you asked the question, you said you don't have a team. By this time, I hope you do now, because we are not going to allow you to not answer this question after you asked it. Bro, we gave you some time.
I just went on a whole monologue after saying I'm not answering any questions.
I'll be completely honest with you. I had two teams picked out, and it was the Wolfpack and the Roadrunners.
Shut up. Whoa. That's such bullshit, I'm serious, dude. You're so full of
swear
shit,
to God.
bro.
Swear to God. Swear to God. I mean, the Wolfpack are on a 10-game losing streak. Like, you're downward trending. It's not looking great. You know? And then Tucson stood out to me just because of the goal differential. I mean, when you put up 102 goals this fast into the season, like, you're clearly scoring a lot of fucking goals,
bro. I don't even want to hear it now.
All right. Fuck it. You know what? We're gonna go with Rockford Ice Hogs because Goon is gonna trade himself out of a fucking position, and Fug is gonna continue to tank because he's 372 and he's throwing because he hates everything about Rockford.
Where's he gonna go? His contract's through the moon.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a rough. That's a rough contract to move.
Yeah. Oh God. There we go. We got an answer out of him. He had that team locked in the whole time. He just didn't want to say it because he led this whole AHL segment with, "We got it wrong. Rockford is really good." Now he's saying they're going to trade themselves.
Well, you guys are putting a gun to my head.
Yeah, you know? But I think if there's any team that's going to trade themselves further into the playoffs, it's probably Rockford.
No,
that's also true.
No, I don't see that.
Goon's worked some weird shit before.
It out.
Goon has done some weird shit before. To get his teams
call down shit before.
Yeah. And I mean, with the way that Chicago organization is operating right now, they seem like a freaking well-oiled machine. Come on. You just mentioned it. You just mentioned, hey, they're putting the rules to their advantage.
Yeah, sure. No problem, man. No problem. I don't see them trading themselves in deeper. Maybe.
I think it's an uphill climb, but they're going to get guys who have playoff experience. I think if they can restructure a couple of their lines, keep what's already intact. I mean, I'm looking at Rockford, right? They're basically right on par with Tucson. Let's think about this. Let's look at the goals for and the goals against. Tucson, 102 goals for. Rockford, 104 goals for. Tucson,
Rockford
97 goals against, 94 goals against for Rockford. We're looking at the exact same team here. But again,
Tucson, 47 points. Rockford, 39.
okay, turn a couple of those one-goal games the other way.
But they're not, though.
Wow.
They're
And these
not.
But they're
though.
not.
You can't
They
turn those
can
the other
go
way.
into crazy. I
I
mean,
mean,
they went 4-2-4 this week, dude. That's 4 overtime L's. You could have got 4 more points out of it.
Overtime L's don't do anything for you in playoffs. I'll tell you that for free.
No,
Fucking
they don't.
A. Yeah.
But if
That's
there's
with 17
one,
seconds left on the fucking clock,
Bro, chill, bro. Hey, that season's
right.
over, man.
sorry.
This season, there is no expectations for you and your squad, bro. So it's okay. It actually might be better for you when you don't make playoffs
sorry.
and have that heartbreak.
jeez,
Feels so good to be in playoffs right now, boys. Right now.
Yeah, I'm enjoying
Right
being.
now.
the last
Who's going to
place
trade
team.
themselves out in the ECHL? This guy.
oh god,
Yeah, no, I am with you guys. Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm just giving you guys a hard time. I think that those are great picks. And I love the Rockford love here. Good job. Go Rockford. Go Goon. Love the support system they have there with their ECHL team. That's very nice of them. But let's move over to the ECHL. All right, we've got a few more things to cover here. ECHL. Oh, shit, no. I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. Fuck, AHL, boys. Sorry. One more thing. This has to get mentioned. The Texas Stars, who are an absolute fucking wagon, been great all season long, lost their starting goalie and lost Big Yan Locks, who was 7-2-0 to their NHL team. 2 call-ups. You know what happened this week? Crow's Line didn't win a single game last night. They went 0-2-1. That doesn't happen for that team.
That's brutal.
They lost their starting goalie, Matthews. Matthews was absolutely buzzing for these guys this season, putting up some crazy numbers. He was 13-1-1 when he got called up.
Well, they're clearly going to be in last place.
Well, they're not going to be in them. That's extreme. I just want to be like these teams that call players up, and I know that the Dallas Stars are a very good team too, so they need to do something. But maybe you don't have to call up right away, right? Like we just talked about how Rockford's doing their thing. Like, you could have just left them, man. Matthews could have been like, yeah, I'll play more games to help out both teams or something, right? Like, didn't need to call him up right away. Maybe something falls into your lap, like, partway through the season. You don't have to be roster compliant, so it sucks.
yeah.
Canadian Gangster saying the same thing. NHL called up guys, traded for guys, and gave him nothing. Yeah, this is why relationships in your 3-tier program needs to be there.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see what happened with those trades, too, because you go take a look at the Dallas Stars now. They have all 3 of their own picks. They have the Blues first-round pick, the Vegas first-round pick, and the Hawks first-round pick. So they just move all these dudes for picks and then call up the AHL? I mean, come on.
That's tough.
Especially
a first-place team as well. But Dallas is doing well, too, right?
It's not... Did they meet these guys? What, like, did bans take place? Like, what happened here? Because, and it's not like the guys they called up are playing poorly either. Big Yanlock's 2-1 in the NHL, 12 points for him. Matthews 5-0-1, I believe. Yeah, his only loss was a 4-3 overtime loss to the St. Louis Blues. He's already putting up an 88% save percentage with a 1.3 goals against.
Yeah. Well.
So.
Just the way she goes. But like I said, like, this is where your relationships are important, right? Like, if I'm that AHL owner, if I'm Crow, but guys, use them. Use my guys. Maybe you figure something out. Maybe you trade one of those first-round picks that you just picked up to make your team better. But, like, don't pull away from my team yet. Like, you might be able to sort something out at your level. Don't call my guys up. I'll use them. They'll play for you, too. Maybe they didn't want to. I don't know how it worked. Anyways, it just sucks. I think that kind of stuff sucks. It hurts your teams when there is an alternative. Maybe maybe you buy a little bit more time for Crow to make a move to replace those guys before you call them up too, right? Like, anyways.
Yeah. I mean, Crow and Ozzy are my guys. I feel for them because
Crow,
that's rough.
I love life. He said, interview me. Yeah, maybe we'll get you on the show here.
Yeah.
Maybe not today, but we will get you on the show. I think that'd
Only
be a good
Crow,
one.
only if you do away with the 2015 Apple earbuds with the microphone quality of sandpaper.
Oh, does Crow have
We
bad
can.
quality?
His mic comes through all right, but like it's been better. There is better quality microphones out there.
All right. Well, we'll work on it. We'll work on getting Crow scheduled on the show. All right. Well, that's a confirmed guest. Crow will be on the show at some point, and we can talk about this experience maybe a little bit later on in the season, maybe in a couple shows or something. We'll figure that out for sure. Is that Scarata? Yes, that is Scarata with the waving right now. ECHL, boys. The ECHL is awesome. Dude, Reading Royals, bro, they're right back where they were last season. They are so good. They had a great week last week. They had another good week this week. They're consistent. They're dangerous. And there's only a few teams that are like that. And I would say Reading, Kalamazoo, and the Fort Wayne Comets are actually really good too. So 3 teams are just like 3 deep lines. We see a lot of really good lines and a lot of like teams that have third lines, but those 3 teams, man, they're scary. They're dangerous, but just definitely want to give them a little bit of love. They did a great job in bidding, and the Reading Royals are a force in the Eastern Conference.
Just kind of scrolling through the standings here. What happened to Kalamazoo?
What do you mean?
Falling off that top spot. They had it fairly commanding lead not too long ago. I think coming into this week. What?
Man,
I mean, I see
Fort Wayne, dude. Did Kalamazoo have a bad night tonight? Yeah, they went 0-3
tonight. 0-3
with their top line. See, I haven't even got a chance to look at this yet. Their top line: Breck, Visions, Biz Nasty, Roski, Angry Brown Guy. They dropped all 3 games tonight.
Yeah, 5-4 on the week, and the Fort Wayne Comets, like you said, on that 7-game heater, taking the number 1 spot by 2 points.
Those 2 teams are going to battle all season.
Yeah,
they're great.
But that's going to be a fun one to watch too, because that division title means something.
Yeah, it's the 1 spot, right? You're either 1 or 3.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to compete for that spot. Allen America is doing way better than I expected, but yeah, no, that one spot will be one of those 2 teams, and if you don't get it, you're 3rd, which isn't fun for fucking whoever the 6th seed is, right? Because 6th seed 3, you're usually okay, maybe, but not when you get one of those 2 teams. You're screwed.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of if you're the Mavericks, the Thunder, or the Rush come the end of the season, you might say, okay, let's play this carefully to try to maybe get the matchup a little bit better heading into the playoffs. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one that plays out.
Wizard talking about how he's top 10 in points again this season, despite being put in bad situations. I don't disagree with him. The best was, I did see this at the beginning. I think, did we talk about this already? Like, I forget where Wizard got bid to, but I did see him say, if I don't get an AHL bid, I am playing as an enforcer. And I remember somebody being like, great, I bid this much on a guy, and he's playing as an enforcer. I'm like, bro, he said he was going to do that, and he did it. And he still put up points, though.
Wizza is a proud member of the Savannah Ghost Pirates, who are paying him $5.25 million for this season.
Yeah, traded there recently, though. He was on Maine to start, by the looks of it. So
yeah,
good job, Wizza. Keep buzzing, keep getting those points, and keep playing as an enforcer and pissing people off by doing it, because you're just smacking them around on the ice and scoring goals.
I can tell you, he's not playing as an enforcer.
He did in week 1, I believe he did, though.
In week 1, okay.
Because I remember seeing a manager say, "Oh, great, I bid this much on a player, and he's playing as an enforcer." I'm like, well, he said he was going to.
That's funny, actually. Yeah, he put up 13 hits in the first game of the season. So really, really setting the tone there. That's funny.
Yeah. RTC,
anyway,
what do you got for the ECHL, buds?
We're
We're losing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of goals scored. There's a lot of teams that have well into, triple digit goals for and against.
What do you chalk
I don't
that
know.
up to?
I don't know. I feel like at this point last season it wasn't, this high. We had a few teams that were, into the hundreds, but like most of the teams already are well into there.
Yeah. Is it goalies? Is it lack of
No,
defensemen? Is it goalies
I don't
animation
know.
sitting on their ass?
That
Is it
could be too.
traits?
That
Is
is
it close quarters?
crazy.
Is it backhand beauty? What do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, the goalie sitting on their ass thing is 100% a thing. Goalies are fucked right now.
Yeah.
Fact.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a good call
It's
though. You're right. Lots of goals.
It's really weird too because and this is pure speculation. I haven't looked into this at all. I don't know what's going on down there. But last season also seemed a really high scoring season in the CHL. And a lot of those dudes who put up 70, 80, 90 points got drafted. And I don't think a lot of them, there were maybe a handful of them that are playing at the AHL level, but a good majority of them are sat at the ECHL level and are just ripping everything up. I don't think it has anything to do with the goalies are worse. The defense, this quality of defensemen aren't as good anymore. No, I think these dudes just know how to score.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Only
well,
because
another
I mean,
thing, yeah.
I'll say that maybe they win, but right now, I mean, just going off of stats, I don't see anybody in the top 25 that is like a DP or anything. These guys have all like Maltese Falcon was in here last season. Scotty's always Scotty. Like this. So Scotty, Z Carpy, and I don't know who the hell else on that line, but I'm pretty sure that all those guys were on Rapid City Rush last season.
Callaway is the other player on that team.
Okay, yeah, and I'm pretty sure that a couple of those guys were on Rapid City.
I don't know where
Like,
Callaway was, but Scotty was on Wichita. And
John Deere, he had.
Yeah, you're right.
It's weird, John Deere, and it seems it seems like John Deere and Greg Roth have completely swapped roles this season. John Deere's team last season wasn't anything spectacular, it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, still not because it's Maine and they're in dead last. But he's having a lot better of a season. But again, a lot of these top guys, like these are guys that have been here. The introduction to draft picks and everything, I could see being a little bit more of a factor maybe on the defensive end.
Yeah.
But my argument is again debunked because what defense, dude? Like these are fucking crazy numbers that we're seeing. There's a lot of high scoring games going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the ECHL or whatever, but like something's going on. And like goalies sitting on their asses at the frequency that they are. I was playing games tonight with guys that were on PlayStation, and this isn't a knock at PlayStation people or nothing, but like, what the fuck are we talking about, dude? Like, the game just shuts your Xbox off, and this has happened for multiple users now. There's a lot of weird shit going on.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think there's a lot of combinations. I know that there is a lot of weird goals that go in this game, right? Like, maybe that helps. I don't know. And then it's hard to play defense too. You see a lot of pokes that are just kind of going through. You skate right through pokes, man. It's just, anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll follow it. Let's see what league is gonna have the most goals by the end of it. We can keep track of this, but no, it's a great call out because I have 11 goals. I don't score very often, and I got 11 goals this season. Let's go, baby. 11 goals in 12 games is really good for me.
Something I do want to point out that seems like a statistical anomaly. The Allen Americans.
Yeah.
Really interesting bit on them here. So they're second in the ECHL in goal differential, plus 48.
Correct.
Which is pretty good.
Yep.
And this is kind of going to your point, RTC. If both both of you guys, the defensive animations, for whatever reason, just ain't it this season. Maybe it wasn't last season as well, and it kind of got brushed under the rug for being a new game. But this ain't it. Because the Allen Americans, with a plus 48 goal differential, have a minus 40-minute time on attack difference. These guys are the rushing team of the league.
Bro, we played them this week. We out-timed on attack them, and they just kept, they got in the way. They play a gritty game, dude. The line we played, we couldn't score at all on these guys, and yeah, we had way more time on attack than those guys did for sure. Oh,
But to put that in perspective, they're 7th worst in the league in time on attack differential.
It's crazy. They get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're minus 23 shot differential as well. 17th worst in the ECHL. So it's just, that's a weird one. I don't know if that has any relevance to what the conversation was, but dear God, that is strange.
Yeah, so when we played them, we lost 2-1. That was last week, actually. It wasn't even this week. Holy man, time is flying by.
Yeah.
2-1. We almost doubled time on attack. It was 940 to 540. So almost. And we outshot them 20-10. They beat us 2-1. Because they played they just played tight, man. Like you couldn't get anything going with them. And their goalie played very well too. But yeah, so I mean if you play team defense, like you get it done, right? Like you can win games allowing teams to have more time on attack as long as you play smart.
Yeah, speaking of their goalie, Zasi last night, him and Chill World put on a show. Dear God. That was the first double overtime game of Monday Night Hockey. Hadn't had one of those yet. Plenty of overtime games, but even though it was only like 37 seconds of double overtime, we hadn't seen overtime intermission yet. But Zasi and Chill World, man, they're the shit. Those guys are fantastic. I think I touched on it after the game. It was a real shame that one of those two goaltenders had to lose that game because both of them were on their heads, spinning like tops the entire time, keeping pucks out of the net, making some ridiculous saves. Yeah. I think Zasi saved a breakaway in overtime as well. Like,
huge, man.
Jeez.
If it's against me, it's easy, bro. I fucking miss every breakaway, but dude, I missed a breakaway this week. I had a breakaway. Clear. Beauty pass. Boom. All the way down the ice. I didn't even shoot the puck, bro. I deked myself into the wall. I didn't even shoot the puck. But guess what? I turned around. Roof daddy. Close quarters. Let's go. I came out of the corner and shot it. I was so mad.
Because close quarters is an extremely well-balanced trait.
No, it's because of my pure skill. My thumbs.
Right,
I didn't want to score on the breakaway. I was like, hey, I'll just do this a different way instead. No, I was miserable when that happened. It was absolutely insane.
Style points.
So I was mad. I was visibly mad for sure. I didn't even celebrate the goal. I don't think I was so mad that I didn't shoot it. I get too much speed and I can't. Anyways, I suck. But yeah, no, for sure. So ECHL Allen Americans, okay. Anything else ECHL though, boys?
It's gonna get. This is again. I'm very interested to see. I think that the storyline for me, at least, if I had to put it for the first 3 weeks, was we need the gap, in the standings, and now for these next 3, it's going to be what moves are made in preparation for playoffs, and then for the final 3, it'll be all right. This is your car. Where's it going to take you? I love this shit, man. It's awesome watching it in phases.
In the ECHL, it gets more interesting because you can use RVs.
Well,
so you don't necessarily have to change your team. If you can find some good RVs to play 6 games to help you win and find your way into playoffs or secure a playoff spot, like in the ECHL, you can do that. In other leagues, you cannot. So this is like RVs play a factor when it comes to trades. I know last season we got like 2 RVs that won. I think they only dropped 2 games, like 1 each. and they're a huge help to our team, right? So
No, I agree. And I mean, personally, I think that the E is the most competitive league in all of it, you know. Um, but
yeah, I agree. I think it's super competitive. Like we play in it, we see it every day, right? I don't know. AHL seems to be pretty competitive too. We had teams that were running away with it last season. This season, those I feel like it's a lot tighter. The NHL seems to be pretty tight too. I've called blowouts, boys, and they're not the other team's winning. I suck at this. I don't know if you guys saw this past week on my show. I added the NHL and the CHL in just to get some more coverage for the other leagues, and both. I didn't even check on tonight's games, but Sunday games and Monday games, both CHL and NHL that I've added. My blowout games, opposite team won, and it's like guys, I follow this league really closely. I picked teams that were very, very high scoring plus teams against lineups, against minus lineups, and the curse, man, the curse was real. So that to me seems like maybe it is tight in all the leagues,
yeah,
but you're right. The ECHL, I don't want to play some of the lower seed teams. Like you could lose to them any night as a higher seed team because it's tight. It depends what line you get too, right?
yep.
So, but Scrat, any more ECHL attack that you have or?
He's got nothing.
All right, so let's move on. The CHL. Fuck, guys. I'm going to say this every single time we get to the CHL. There's so many teams.
I
There's just
know.
so many
It's
teams,
brutal
man.
pulling stuff for this part of it.
But there's some very good teams and there are some very low seed teams, and that's what happens when you have so many teams. So somewhere in the chat earlier, shout out to the Windsor Spitfires that are apparently first in the OHL or first in the OHL and first in the league, maybe in the CHL. So, but there is a couple very, very dominant teams in that league. I don't know if you guys dug anything up on the CHL for this show.
Yeah, I kind of copped out and took the easy route. And hold on, I'm just looking up something real quick. Top point guy. He's been up there all season. Had another great week. He's still up there. Is JE238 right wing. He's got 57 points, dude, and he's 5-5-2.
I think they just went 0-3 this week. I think they had a bad week this week.
Jeez.
I don't, dude. How do you lose 7 games as the top point guy in the fucking league?
Well, they
Like,
went
there's
0-2-1 this week, so those are a couple of his losses. But
that's
buddy, they're blowing
brutal.
teams out of the water when they win.
I mean, clearly.
Well, one game they
But I
scored
mean, like
13 goals.
his line mate Flydwin is the number 4 guy.
Yeah.
Like, there's either there's just gotta just be no defense, right? Like these dudes are just hanging out at the fucking opponent's blue line, cherry picking.
They won a game 13-6 where JE put up 12 points, I think.
Are you telling me both teams mixed the extra point?
Right? Yeah. Somebody missed the field goal. Double doink.
Yeah.
Then they had another game where they put 10 goals up, right? Like these guys are putting goals up nonstop. 10 goals, 8 goals, 5 goals, allowing 6. Like you're right. They allow a ton of goals still too. They won 8-4. Then this past week they went 0-2-1. So they did not get nearly as many points. But leading up to week 4, if I go and look, I was just looking at Flydwin, but if I go and look at JE, and if I go look, this week he only put up 7 points. Week 1, he put up 19 points. Week 2, 16 points. Week 3, 15 points.
Is that good?
Next season, let's go. Come on up, my guy. And I'll move down.
That's what I was just looking at. Who's got him right now?
They definitely do not play for the goalie. They definitely do not play for the goalie. You're right. They play for the big stats. But yeah, no, good call. That guy's killing it, man. And is that his first season or did he play last season? No, he played last season. He played for Regina. Interesting. Put up 54 points last season, total season, and this season he's put up 57. But playing with Flydwin is a big win for JE or G or G, yeah, or I don't know what it is. Whatever. Maybe we can get clarification on how to pronounce it.
Fucking team is this guy? Ah,
Which team? Who?
in the E.
Oh, ECHL team. Yeah, but he's still. Is he a prospect? No, he's not.
Is he?
Is he protected though? He might be protected.
Well, but still, he'd be on somebody's training camp, right?
Yeah.
Here, 1 second, I'll tell you who. Well, I'm looking that up. I don't know, Scrata, did you dig anything up on the ECHL?
Moneyball watch. The Lethbridge Hurricanes. Little update on them. 5 points off of second place. 7 points off of first place, and the two teams above them are on absolute heaters. Prince Albert, 6-game winning streak. Brandon, 8-game winning streak. No trades to speak of as of yet for the Hurricanes, and things are looking like they're going pretty well. Elsewhere, the division to watch. If you want to watch a CHL division go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, look no further than the OHL Northern Division. The division leader, the Owen Sound Attack, 44 points for them. The Ottawa 67s, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and the North Bay Battalion, and the Guelph Storm, 40 points for all four of those teams.
That's crazy.
And
Crazy.
the Peterborough Petes are sat right behind all of them at 38. So what's gonna happen is here's how this is gonna go. The division leader is gonna win the division and get the 2 seed. Meanwhile, the team that finishes in second place might get like the 7th seed.
Because the other division has so many points, eh?
Winning your division, and Kahuna, you have muted yourself on Discord. Nice work. Winning your division has never been as important as it is for these 6 teams that sit in this division.
Yeah. So you can hear me now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a hotkey that mutes me, and I pressed it. Yeah, no, I just said I think everybody else would have heard me though too. Is like, yeah, if the other division has so many points that you're right, like you just drop down to like, if it stays the way it does, you just drop down to nowhere land.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And maybe, I mean, I'm looking at the other division too. I mean, it's not too much different. Windsor on 48, Kitchener on 44, Oshawa on 43, Barrie on 43.
She's tight.
I mean, that's
all the way down to
that's
like
close.
12,
and is it just maybe something where the OHL's just beating each other up? And it's like you play one team one night. Oh yeah,
maybe
OHL looks like the conference to watch. Man, this conference looks like it could just be bonkers. I mean, even the London Knights, who are sat 15th, are 6 points off of a playoff spot.
Yeah. Sudbury Wolves said, "Hold my beer. Watch what I can do." Hey,
dude,
dead last, they're done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to see if I know anybody on this team. Jay Whips, I think I know him.
Welcome back, RTC. JE is actually a prospect, so that's why he's not an ECHL.
That makes sense.
There you go. But yeah, really, the only team that you might say that the ship has sailed for them is the Sudbury Wolves. Everybody else, all the other 15 teams, are gonna fight this out to the death, and it's gonna be one of those conferences where you're gonna go into the last day of the season. Who knows who makes the playoffs? Who knows? And you're just gonna go. You're gonna have to go 3-0 and see where you fall.
Buddy, if it stayed the way it does now, there's a chance that you could be. There's a chance, very slim chance, but there's a chance that you could be second in your division in that OHL division that you just mentioned
And not make it.
No, and play your first in your division.
Oh yeah,
you can play your interdivision bowl like you're just playing the team that you played all season. That's crazy. Yeah, no, that's wild, dude. Like that's super tight.
Yeah.
I didn't really have anything for the CHL other than like I've been following along with it really closely. There are some very good lines in that league, and there is some that just aren't cutting it. But I think we're going to see a lot of movement between the NCAA and CHL. Because I do believe that there is going to be some NCAA guys really getting noticed that are able to play in the CHL. And I just want to say shout out to the league for doing the right thing after we talked about it too. And we didn't drive this. I know they were always working on this, but shout out to the league. We talked about it last show too. 10 new teams in the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. We got more guys not being inactive, more guys playing the game, more guys going to get noticed, and more guys learning how to figure out how this goddamn league works, man. And that's a big win. I've seen in the past, I think I remember a WJC where we had like 6 teams, maybe 8 teams, and like all the teams had like 70 or 80 guys on their TC. We did nothing about it. But we did something here, and I'm very, very happy that the league did that. So, again, good job. Good job to the league and Griggs for getting that done. We added 10 new teams to the NCAA. That's huge. That's a lot. That's a lot of teams, right? Like, that's full teams, full rosters.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just definitely, I know we talked about it in our chat there, RTC. You had the same shout out too. But, like, fuck yeah, boys. Let's go. That's for the players. That's huge, man. The number, like, I think this season was probably our most signups that we've ever had. And we were about to sit so many people on an inactive list that we're probably never going to play. And it's so easy to be inactive if you're not playing in this league, man. So that's a huge win. A huge, huge win. So shout out to those guys.
I mean, with that said, like, it would be nice for, staff and players and owners, to recognize that, we, like, the league needs people to help it run. Like, we're only going to get as much out of LG as, like, that we all put into it, and if the league needs owners, then somebody's got to step up and do it. It's a challenge in its own, and same thing for staff. You have to be a special type of person to do staff, at least be a good staff member. You have to be patient, and do all that stuff. But, like, we all will sit here and criticize and, like, all want so much out of this experience, but how many of us are willing to put in the work, and to give it the support that it needs? So it's awesome to see that, and I really hope, that it continues to grow. I mean, 4,300 is still a lot. Like, does anybody know off the top of their head, like, how many people are still going to be left out even after the expansion?
These TCs are still pretty big.
Yeah, it's still pretty big, but you need
That's
to.
what I'm saying.
You need to. I'm telling you, I've talked to a couple of the boys.
Yeah,
They did their draft, and there's still some inactives. There's still, buddy. There's still issues, guys. There's still issues. Let's just say that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
need those numbers. My buddy's team there and the Arizona State team, they did a draft and they drafted on a guy, Bob Laneru was in the draft. That right after that draft, Bob was on waivers at one point in the ECHL. How the hell did he end up in the NCAA draft? How was he eligible to be drafted if he was playing in the ECHL? So there's still, I mean, there's so many players. It was probably very manual. They did it in Discord, which tells you that it would have been manual.
Yeah.
So whatever. That's why you need those guys. You're gonna have a bunch of inactives. You're gonna have guys that say this sucks. I signed up for this league, and I think there's a lot of people that sign up for this league and are like, oh, these players can actually play too, right? Like, it's not just like pickup, right? Like, it's good. But yeah, no. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to the S&P guys too. Saturday Night Puck ran again last week. Killed it. They did a draft format too, which is really fun. I never did that when I tried to boost it. When I tried to get it back, that's probably my bad. Because these guys did it, no problem. Had a great turnout again. Saturday Night Pack is back. Shout out to those guys. Good job. What else we got, boys? What else we got? I know I got a burning question, but I don't know if I'm ready to ask it yet.
Burn your question.
I just don't know if I'm ready yet. I don't know if it's the right time. I just want to make sure that we get through all the leagues here. We talk about all the talking points that we had prepared for this show, which was not much preparation as we normally would do, but that's okay. I'm just looking here. Did you just delete your topics, RTC?
Yeah, as we go through my
Okay, cool.
I cross them off.
One
That's
thing
how
I
I
had.
know.
Yo, do you guys, that Christmas break that we had last season, that was nice. You
Was
know, I
it?
almost feel like I want that again. Yeah, it was nice. Take a little break, man. It
Weren't
gets
you
pretty
just
busy.
bitching about it like an hour
Yeah,
ago,
yeah, yeah.
saying that
No,
it
yeah, I
totally
lost my
fucked the
team. But
flow?
selfishly for me, guy, the amount of time that we spend doing the media stuff, being a manager, that week off was kind of nice. That week off was pretty nice. We should
Yeah.
schedule one of those every time.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
we
run a
kind of just
tournament
did
that week
that
or something. But
inadvertently.
I could see like a bye week the week before playoffs or something.
yeah, 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 man, yeah. Let's go. I
Why
love
not?
it. I love it. But burning question. All right, lag out happens in a game which both of you guys saw a ton of tonight, eh? I saw, hey, a few teams had some real bad problems tonight. Okay, you got a
Yeah.
lag out. Okay, I'm going to give you first the burning question for me, and then I'm going to give you a scenario. You have a lag out. Who backs out? What team is responsible for backing out? In your
Doesn't
mind,
matter.
there's rules. There's our LG rules on what happens after a lag out. What team should be the team that is responsible for backing out? RTC.
I don't understand why it matters.
Okay, go
I,
ahead.
I
Well, like,
yeah, I'm with
why?
Like
them, but
the game has to end,
Okay,
right? No matter what, we
right.
we are all aware that most likely the rule is most commonly you play to the next whistle. So once that next whistle occurs, right?
Who backs out?
Whoever
But
just end the game.
what if both teams don't back out before that next puck drop? Who's
Somebody,
it
I
on?
mean,
Who is it on at that point?
well, at that point, yeah. Well, all right, fair. Okay.
Who's responsible for backing out? That's what I want to know. In your perspective, who is responsible
An
for backing
adult.
out?
The person that the team that had the player lag out.
Okay. Scrata?
yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
the goaltender of the team that blagged out just dashboard the game.
So if they don't, as the opponent, do you back out right away?
Yeah,
Yes.
Interesting.
and then you go in the management chat and call him a moron.
Yes, no, 100%
Yeah.
that happens.
Yeah,
We've been
Yeah,
having a
yeah.
2-day conversation in our ECHL manager chat because what happened was in an overtime there was a lag out. Neither team backed out. Okay, so here let's put this example.
Well, they're both fucking
You
dumb.
ready? Neither team backs out. An overtime goal is scored by the team that had the lag out. They have to replay overtime because anything after the next whistle. So this is very important for people to know. I learned this actually just recently. I kind of knew, but I kind of was like, work it out with your managers. Like managers should work it out with each other. Anything that happens after that next whistle is void.
Yeah.
So that goal doesn't count. So this team, but here's the issue, is the team that didn't back out, the other team. So one team had a lag out, they said, fuck it, let's just play. Maybe that's how it works. Maybe we'll just play. Maybe nothing will happen. The other team said, well, fuck it, guys, maybe let's not back out. Didn't notice. They play for a period of time. The other team scores, and then they cry wolf. Well, they didn't back out. We need to redo overtime. I kind of feel like it's on both teams, though, in that scenario, right? It's pretty, like, for me now, I'm just going to say, okay, well, I'm just going to let it run, let them score, and then...
I mean, unless, right? And this is, like, maybe the only time that I would be like, ugh. Like, I'm still going to throw up, just not, like, projectile about it. And that's if that team won, like, a face-off draw, back to the D-man, and then they clap it in real quick. Like, I mean, that half-a-second goal, Sure. But, I mean, if you, like, the puck drops, you clearly are moving the puck around, and nobody's quitting, like, you're both dumb. Like, whatever the outcome of that game is at that point, like, back out.
Yeah, I don't know the exact
you
scenario.
you know the rules. Somebody has to back out. What does it matter? Oh, to back out, I don't want to redo my lobby. Okay, well, there you go.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the rules should change. You got to replay it, but like if those players specifically are upset about it, like, well, I would almost put money on it that all 12 of the players involved in that are going to back out next time somebody disconnects.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Like, both teams had the opportunity to back out. And I
Right.
think, honestly, there's something. If the other team had scored, and the other squad that lost guy there's no way they were gonna fight it. They're like, oh well, whatever, it's over. But because the team that had the lag out scored after both teams decided not to back out right off the hop.
Yeah.
Now they replay the overtime. I have no clue what happened, but to me, I'm like, that was an interesting situation. Plus, I did learn that like I need to make sure that I back out because there's been games where I'm playing against people and we have a lag out with like a minute or two left, and I'm like, no, it's not worth it. And if the other team has the lag out and they don't back out, I am fine finishing that game out because I don't want to reset for 2 minutes. Then you have to add 5 on top of it too. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're up 3-4 goals, whatever. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if there's like mutual agreement between the managers, hey, we're up by 5. There's 2 minutes to just end the game, right? We'll just see it out. Hey,
you don't have time to really have that conversation after a whistle.
You can pause.
Well, I don't want to waste my time out.
I mean, but hopefully you
up by 5.
have a good management group. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Hey, one thing
where you're playing somebody that you trust or whatever the case is.
That's it. So one thing I did say though is something I do take a little bit of pride in. This is why you have good relationships with managers.
Right. Exactly.
You don't have a 2-day argument afterwards, right? Like for me, listen, if I don't back out and there was a lag out and that lag out team scores and I decided not to back out and we get scored on, I'm eating that L. Like, that's just me. I'm eating that loss. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to reset. Now I could, but I'm not going to.
Fair.
I'm just not going to because I could have backed out too. There was
Are
a
you
time
going to
where
call a forfeit on somebody in playoffs though?
No, God, no. You can't call a forfeit on it. You just have to replay it. But
Oh,
no, in
well.
playoffs, it's a different story, guys. Regular season, week 4, you got 1 out of your 2 points. Is it worth it? I don't know. It was just an interesting scenario, right? Like, I was just like, I don't know if everyone if the other team didn't back out, you kind of roll with it, right? If you're the team that had the lag out and the other team doesn't really, I would assume they don't care if they're not backing out too. Yeah, just roll with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an interesting scenario.
Yeah.
But
that is interesting.
Well, how do we feel?
Tired.
I can see that. I can see that, bro. I didn't even get into my energy drink yet. Save it for tomorrow morning. No, I'll save it for tomorrow morning. I gotta go to bed now. But hey, this was good, guys. I'm glad we sorted it out when we're gonna do this. We'll have to figure out when we're gonna do the next one.
Yeah.
But I think
I have a real shit schedule coming up.
I kind of feel in this night vibe, by the way. I'm kind of like I'm vibing with this. I'm thinking this is all right.
Yeah.
Bother me.
I mean, even like yeah. We could
You
definitely
get fresh takes too. You get takes hot off the grill.
Yeah, like one of us could be absolutely fucking miserable because we went 0-3. Like that's
I was gonna say
that would be fun,
dude.
Or we could we could have 2 of the members not on a playoff team right now, not in playoffs, doing a show. That'd be crazy too, eh?
Our organization did go 0-9.
Wait, you guys
one
are in
night.
the same organization?
Yeah, he's on the Mallards. Yeah.
Oh boy.
He was about to ECU for me tonight. Or last night, sorry.
Oh, there was one point that my whole organization was at the top of their conferences. So Carolina was number 1. Chicago was number 1, which I believe they still are number 1. And then we fucked it up. We had a bad night. We were number 1, and then we gave it up to Reading. And it's going to be so hard to get back. But
Just got to get good.
I do. I need to get good for sure.
I'm gonna send Teal to your DMs, and he's just gonna send you get good.
Why?
Because that's all he does in the AHL management chat. Somebody will just post something, they'll tag Teal, and he'll just say get good.
I love that. I love that for anybody that's talking to him. That's a great conversation to be had too. Just about as good as the conversation we had tonight, boys. I do appreciate you guys hopping on this late and doing this, especially after you guys played your games tonight and the bullshit you had to go through with all the lag outs that you had in your last games. Both of you guys did it. I was going crazy. I was watching both your streams and I'm like, we're never going to do this show. I thought you guys were going to bail. You didn't, and I appreciate that. We'll have to figure out when we do the next one. But Any closing comments from the both of you?
Glad to do this. This was awesome. I mean, even though tomorrow is going to suck at work, it was a lot of fun. Even chat was a lot busier than I thought it was going to be. It was fun to just kind of shoot the shit tonight, you know, not be too structured or nothing, have a couple beers and just, I don't know, I felt like it was a great show all around. I always look forward to this, even though obviously schedule isn't always the greatest. It's a great sitting here and talking with you guys, getting your perspectives and your opinions on everything. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scrata.
I'll bring my whiskey on the show next week, and that way I can have a drink with you guys.
I'm just
But
gonna crush out of this from now on.
there you go. But next week you got to fill it all the way up. We got to get a couple
Maybe
cans.
fuck
Yo,
in
you know
there.
what?
Clean
One
it,
beer actually
bro.
did it pretty good. It wasn't that
Really?
good. Yeah. I could probably squeak 2 in though, because it gets a little bit wider at the top.
Yeah.
Fine.
What it foamed down a little bit too?
No, there was no foam. I
Yeah.
think the
Really?
resin on the inside really held the foam down.
Yeah, the resin that's now coursing through your organs.
Golden.
Yeah,
It's golden.
it's supposed to be there, right? Yeah.
Done worse.
Yeah.
I've done worse to my body. I can guarantee you that. RTC, I do appreciate how dark your basement is right now. Please don't trip on the way back up to your bedroom.
It's gotten darker as
Yeah,
the night's
I
gone on.
agree. Yeah, it definitely has. It's a little bit like now this is your green screen, bro. You're set.
Oh,
Just
you
do
wanna
this
know
in the
why?
pitch black.
Because I'm not watching anything. I was watching the Sabres game. I was watching the Virginia game.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
gonna
Man.
have to go.
Thanks for having your full attention to the show. Appreciate that, man.
I'm gonna have to go back on the stream and make sure there weren't just like little white eyes poking through in the background. They're like snooping on RTC.
Well, if there is now, let me know, dude.
Nobody. No. Once you close that computer down, you're done.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
hey, this is a fun one, boys. Yeah, we'll figure out when we're gonna do it next. I'll let everybody know.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll do this again real soon. That is all.
Peace.
Peace out, boys. Have a good night.
Later.